Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at the top story that we're tracking for you. The coronavirus took over our lives a year ago, and since then it has killed more than 2.2 million people and altered the lives of billions. The rapidly mutating virus is keeping scientists across the globe up at night. And in the latest development, the head of the UK's generic surveillance programme has said that the Kent mutant strain will soon become the world's most dominant strain. Speaking exclusively to the BBC, Professor Sharon Peacock said that the variant is dominant in the United Kingdom and is likely to sweep the world in all probability. Now, not just that, Professor Peacock said that it could take at least 10 years for the world to get ahead of the virus. She said, and I quote, "Once we get on top of the virus, or it mutates itself out of being virulent, causing disease, then we can stop worrying about it. But I think looking into the future, we're going to be doing this for years. We're still going to be doing this 10 years down the line, in my view," unquote. The Kent variant is the UK's first identified mutant strain. It is highly transmissible and the cause behind the UK's latest coronavirus surge and harsh virus combat measures. The Kent variant has already been detected in more than 50 countries till now. Now, expressing concern over the latest developments, Professor Peacock has said, and I quote, "The 117 variant that we have had circulating for some weeks and months is beginning to mutate again. And these new mutations could affect the way that we handle the virus in terms of immunity and effectiveness of vaccines." Now, Professor Peacock highlighted another key concern. This new mutation can threaten global vaccination drives. As of now, 2 vaccines have been approved and are in use in the UK, AstraZeneca and Pfizer. And experts say that currently both vaccines offer protection against the existing virulent strains. But if the mutations continue at this rate, then it will potentially undermine the efficacy of the shots. Now, our correspondent, Laura McInnesherwood, joins us live from London. Thanks for being with us. Now, from the latest reports that we are being told, the Kent mutant strain will soon become the world's most dominant strain, and this may go on for years. Just how concerning is this?
Well, it does sound concerning, doesn't it? This warning came from a professor who heads up a group of scientists looking at mapping the virus, the genomics of it, assessing its characteristics, looking at how it's changing over time. And that warning that it may well sweep the globe sounds pretty bad. But I think it's something that scientists were actually expecting when it comes to a virus itself. They were expecting these kinds of changes as the virus passes through many millions of people around the globe. Day after day after day, changes will happen within it. It's a case of the survival of the fittest mentality with the virus. It's constantly trying to adapt to ensure that it can continue to move through people. Now, the Kent strain, this strain that is the most dominant here in the UK, the one that professor was warning about, was discovered in the southeast of England in September. It's now the most dominant strain here in the United Kingdom, and it's, as you've said, been detected in now 50 countries around the globe. The concern about this strain is that it is very transmissible. It's 70% more transmissible than earlier versions of this virus, and of course, that means that more people are likely to get it and it will be able to spread around the world much more easily. But people are saying very clearly that while it might be more transmissible, it might not be more deadly per se.
Now, Laura, what impact are we expecting? And most importantly, are the vaccines that are currently being rolled out effective against this variant?
That's something that scientists are also trying to put out in their messaging, that these vaccines that have been developed are effective, at least against some of the milder versions of this, at least against more serious versions of this illness. So they are encouraging people to continue to take this vaccine. The Oxford AstraZeneca one and the Pfizer one, as you said, has been rolled out in the United Kingdom in particular. In the UK, more than 13 million people now have been vaccinated against coronavirus. And the government is hoping to reach a 15 million target in the next few weeks. So while there are concerns about this in terms of its spread, scientists say continue with vaccinations because it should help. And in Oxford, scientists there are working on developing different versions of the vaccine that they say will tackle different strains.
Right, and lastly, you are in London. What is the current situation on the ground in the UK? What are the lockdown restrictions like, and how is the vaccination drive going?
Well, the vaccination rollout is going pretty well. The government have been holding regular press conferences, updating the public about how and what is happening. As I said, over 13 million people in the United Kingdom have now had an immunisation, had a jab. The government have been calling again for another 2 million people that are in the over 70s category that might not have had their vaccination yet to come forward and take it, book their appointments, and make sure that they are protected as best as possible. In terms of the lockdown, the Kent strain of this virus was the reason that the government decided to put the United Kingdom into a third nationwide lockdown in January. We're still under those restrictions now, so people are being told to stay at home, only to make very essential journeys like going to the shops to get food or perhaps to get medical assistance, and people are being encouraged to work from home where possible. Now, for many people that is possible. Of course, we've got so many options now with technology, don't we, in terms of being able to communicate with our offices remotely, but there are still many key workers that are on the ground, working in hospitals, in those shops that I spoke about. Those people have been, especially in the medical profession, been offered vaccines ahead of some other members of the general public. But in terms of access and movement, and of course borders now being closed between the UK and elsewhere around the world, those restrictions are pretty tight.
Laura, thank you very much for bringing us all the latest on COVID out of the UK. WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.